And that is how I made $25,000 in 30 days in my accounting firm. In today's video, we're going to be going over how I made $25,000 in less than 30 days inside of my accounting firm. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is not to brag and it's not to boast or anything like that, but it's really to show you guys how easy client acquisition is when you have a dialed in funnel and when you're running paid ads. And I want you to take into consideration the type of funnel that I'm running. I'm not even doing hardcore nurturing. I'm also not even doing a VSL. So I'm doing a straight book a call funnel, and that's it. So we're going to hop into the details here. The exact funnel that I'm running is from ads and a little bit of cold outreach. Now, the cold outreach is not just random people. It's people who follow me who look like they have qualified accounts. And basically what I'm doing is, let's say if an auto body shop is following my Instagram account, I will reach out and I'll say, hey, I'm running this special offer, blah, blah, blah. If you're interested, click down below. I'm sending maybe 10 a day, if that. Like it's very tiny. Mainly the reason why I'm actually doing it is I'm trying to stop doom scrolling and I'm trying to spend less time on social media. So this is one thing that I told myself is when I get an urge to scroll on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, I got to send at least 10 cold DMs. So if you don't know what a funnel is, you can Google it. It'll probably explain it a lot more easier than me. But basically, so a funnel starts at the very top. And this is where leads will enter in and they'll go through your entire sales process to either they will close or they won't. So my exact funnel goes like this. I get traffic. Okay. I mainly get traffic from paid advertising. I run meta ads and that's how I do it. Doesn't matter how you get traffic, just as long as you're getting traffic and eyeballs to look at your offer. Because again, you can have the greatest offer in the world and you could be the best accountant in the world or the best bookkeeper or the best tax planner or whatever. But if no one knows that you exist and if no one sees your actual offer, it doesn't really matter. Like no one's going to buy. So you need traffic. Fastest way to get traffic is through ads. If you don't have the money for ads, then you need to do content or cold outreach. Okay. You just need to get people to start seeing you and start noticing you, and you want to get your brand out there. Okay. From there, after the person sees the ad and they decide that this is something that they want to check out, the sales process then begins. Okay. And what happens is after they click on my ad, they then book in a call. Now, if this was a different funnel, in here, they would go to a landing page with a VSL. A VSL is just a video sales letter. Now, this is a one-time special offer that I'm running, and that's why I'm doing a straight book a call, because I'm not here to nurture people and I'm not here to slowly convert them. My funnel is straight up. If you're this and you hate this and you're struggling with this and you're willing to pay this, click this link. So everyone who clicks on my link is a pretty solid fit. Obviously, not every single person is going to be a solid fit, but for the most part, okay? So that's when the sales process or sales cycle begins. They come in from the ad, they book in a Zoom call or a phone call or sometimes text. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip. If the person books in a Zoom call, always get their phone number, okay? Always get their phone number, because sometimes people forget, sometimes people don't know that it's a Zoom call. Like out of all the calls that I booked this last month, I probably had 10 people not show up, but I called their cell and they picked up and they're like, hey, yeah, I was waiting for a phone call because I thought that it was a phone call. When every single email quite literally had a Zoom link and was saying, this is a Zoom call, this is a Zoom call. So whatever. Anyways, what happens is the sales process or the sales cycle starts. They get on the actual Zoom call or a phone call. Text, yes. I'm not, if a person can't get on a Zoom call and they can't get on a telephone call and they can only text, I'll entertain that. I'll text them, but I'm not going to take it very seriously, because the deal that, or the package that I'm selling is about, on average, about $4,000. And you're probably, unless if there's a huge amount of trust, you're probably not going to buy a package for $4,000 without a sales call or without a Zoom call or without at least seeing that person. So the offer that I'm running on average, it's about 4,000. So when I get people that come in and they don't show up for Zoom and they don't pick up their phone and they answer a text, I'm not that confident that it's going to close. So what happens then is I either close them or I don't on the Zoom call. Now, if they do a no-show or if they just straight up ghost, I have a 5 email nurture sequence via email. And basically what that is if I put them if I classify that lead as a no-show, an email sequence goes off where they get hit with an email every single day for 5 days straight. Now, I don't recommend doing it that often because you're just going to piss a lot of people off when you email them every single day about the same thing. So the only reason why I'm doing is because, like I said, this is a one-time offer that I'm running out, and that's about it. For the email sequence, you want to have it enough where you're top of mind for that person, but you're not annoying them and you're not overstepping it. So for my other offer that runs all year, 12 months long, basically what happens is there's 2 emails in the first week of opting in. And then for 7 or 8 weeks after that, they get 1 email every single week. They take a Zoom call. Either I close them or I don't, or they no show or they ghost. If they do that, they get hit with the email sequence. And then after they get hit with the email sequence, they are now back to the Zoom call. Okay. Now, on the actual call, I always collect a retainer, or I always collect some type of document, or ideally both. And what I mean by that is obviously when you collect a retainer on a call, it shows that the person's serious and they're not going to ghost you. They're going to move forward with it. But also what it does is if they do ghost you, well, who cares? You just got a free retainer. Now, personally, me, I always refund that person if I don't hear them. I mainly do that just out of goodwill, just to build up that rapport. I collect a retainer or some type of document. This could be a bank statement, a credit card statement, or an engagement letter. And the reason why I do that is just to get them to commit to something. Because a person that says on the Zoom call, "Oh, I love this whole tax strategy. I love this whole package. This is going to save me so much time in bookkeeping. This is going to save me so much time or so much money in taxes." But they don't put a retainer down. They don't onboard as a client with any type of documents. I'm not wasting my time with that. So you got to collect something. Ideally both, but you got to collect something. Once you collect one or both of these, then you deliver your service. Or in this case, I'm then delivering that service. And I always upsell. Always, always, always upsell. This is the easiest money I have ever made with upsells, and it's completely free. I literally just I worked out the reports a couple of weeks ago. I think it was 80,000 last year. I added $80,000 just in upsell deals. So, and that came free. That was no building out funnels. That was no running ads. That was no cold outreach or anything like that. That was straight up free. So you guys need to upsell. Okay. That is going to cover, that's just profit at the end of the day, really, because you spent the money, you spent the time, you spent the effort to get that client. So now you're making them worth more. Upsell, 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 always upsell, and you're giving value to that client if you're upselling them. What do you upsell? I will do a tax plan, an audit protection plan, or bookkeeping. So let's say if I bring on a corporate client who just needs a catch-up return, like they just have to get their corporate tax return caught up. I will do the actual service delivery. I will get them caught up, and then I will propose a tax plan because I've seen their books. I know where to save taxes, whatever. Okay. If I've already given them a tax plan and they already have an accountant who does their actual corporate tax return, I'll audit them, or I will give them an audit protection plan, meaning, hey, pay $200 a month. And if you ever get into an audit, that's what that $200 a month is for. I will come in and support you 100%. Now, I have different levels of audit protection, but that's essentially what it is in a nutshell. If I'm doing like a personal business tax return, or if I'm doing a corporate tax return and I'm noticing that their bookkeeper isn't doing the best job, I will offer, and I'll say, hey, look, if you want to keep your current bookkeeper 100%, that's cool. But just to let you know, this is what I'm seeing, and it's slowing me down in these areas. So if you're fine with that, perfect. But if you're not okay with me being slow in these areas, the bookkeeping has to uh, something has to happen with the bookkeeping. So I always upsell something. All right. Now let's get into some actual numbers for my funnel. So I know 30 days in my accounting firm. It was actually about 5 weeks. I launched this campaign. I think I launched it February 27th, I think, or February 28th, somewhere around there. And today is, oh, look at that. Today's March 28th. So it's been about a month, but it's actually been just over a month. It's like been 33 or 35 days. So I'm just going to call it 5 weeks. So my total ad spend, as you can see here, is $2,093.61. So I'm just going to round that up to $2,100. $2,100 in total ad spend. And keep in mind, that is Canadian dollars. For me, it doesn't really matter because I'm also charging in Canadian dollars. But for everyone who's in the US, 21 is about $1,500. So in $1,500 of ad spend, just going to divide the 25,000 by the currency. So in $1,500 in ad spend, you could make roughly $17,000 in change. Okay. So over 5 weeks, spent a total of $2,100. Now, what I did is I actually set my ad budget to about $100 a day. And I guess my actual creatives are that good where it didn't actually need to push out my content to spend the full budget. So $2,100 in total ad spend. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Okay. So this is from my calendar, 93 created events. Now, I want you to take into consideration out of this 93, I think five of them were current client calls. So minus 5, but whatever. So my show rate was very low for this actual cycle or for this funnel. And the reason why is because it's a direct call offer. So people will book, say on a Monday, they'll book in for a Wednesday, but it's just an off the fling kind of book. Like they're not 100% serious about it. So that's why my show rate is so low. If you are running like in my other offer that runs 12 months every single year, if that had a 50% show rate, that would be a huge problem. That would be a problem. Okay. But 49% show rate, so 50% show rate, I'm not too concerned with that because in about 2 weeks, I'm going to be shutting this whole funnel down because it's only a one-time offer thing. But that's my take. Okay. So 45 calls showed up. About 15 of them were qualified. Now, more than 15 were qualified. I will say that if they had about a year's worth of nurturing. Okay. So there were about 10 of those calls that could have actually become clients if I spent 12 months nurturing them and educating them. But like I said, this is a short time offer. So I don't have 12 months to actually nurture them. So 15 were qualified on the actual call that I knew for a fact I could help, and they were a perfect fit right now. Okay. On the actual calls, five closed, and it was roughly for $5,000 each. Now, this is the interesting part. Okay, cash collected, it was about $1,500 each person. I'm going to adjust this. So it was about $1,500 each person. That's $7,500. Within the next 30 days, I will finish what my service is and I will collect on the rest over the next 30 days. So I guess you could say $25,000 in 60 days cash, but $25,000 in deals closed, whatever. So one thing about this is the tax plan that I'm doing is going to require a corporate tax return for all of these new clients. Okay. And a corporate tax return, the kind that I'm doing, and for the size of the business, is like a minimum $1,500. And that's every single year. So if I have 5 people at $1,500, I just did the math right there. That's $7,500 every single year that I've just added in my bottom line income. Okay. This is why I love the accounting business, because the lifetime value of these clients are unreal. It is so perfect. So that's basically my entire math here. And you can see here, I've got 5 closed. 15 of them were qualified. I still have 10 deals right now that are in the that they're in the actual pipeline. And what I mean by that is they either have to talk to their business partner or their spouse, or they need to talk with their lawyer. Now, I think accountants suck at sales objections and sales objection handling and sales calls in general and whatnot. But to a certain point, I think accountants sometimes get a little brainwashed into the sales content out there, and it's like you need to push for the sale and collect cash now, blah 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 blah. But depending on what your offer is, I think you have to take that into consideration. Like if you're doing a tax strategy offer, like when I do a tax planning offer, and the person says, "This all looks amazing, but I need to talk with my business partner and my lawyer," that is such a fair response, because what I'm proposing, we are literally changing their actual corporate structure. I'm changing their business that they've spent the last 10 years growing, um, mentally draining. Like running a business is not a fun thing every single day. And here I am offering a solution, but it involves changing their entire corporate structure. That's something that you got to think about. So I don't rush people on those kind of offers. But if I have like say a bookkeeping offer where it's like catching them up like 3 or 4 years, I'm going to push it a bit. Like if they say, "Great, this all looks great. Can I think about it?" My response is like 100% think about it. You absolutely need to take that time to consider what your options are. Now, I'm just wondering, is there anything specifically that you have to think about? Just because I've got you on the call right now, I've got a call in about 10 minutes here. I want to answer any questions that you may have. So if there's something that you're thinking about, why don't we go over it right now, and we can hopefully we can clear it up. And then that's when they get into what it is that they had to think about. But that is a conversation for another day. So, in summary, you guys, the funnel is this: it's an ad to a landing page to a call, either close. If I don't, whatever. If I do, I then upsell. Okay. To make this entire funnel work, you need traffic, you need a sales process, you need a sale, and then you need to deliver on whatever you are selling. And that is how I made $25,000 in 30 days in my accounting firm. If you guys want help building out a similar funnel like this that gets you these types of results, go ahead and book a call down below and we'll see if we can help you.